Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. My name is Miss Robinson and I'm back with another math video for you guys. Today we are looking at lesson 1.5, and in lesson 1.5 we're going to be using our properties of addition to solve some addition problems. So we have learned in previous lessons about the commutative property of addition. The commutative property of addition states that the order in which you put your addends will not change the sum. So 2 plus 3 is 5 and 3 plus 2 is 5. And me switching the order of those two addends did not change the sum whatsoever. We've also learned about the associative property of addition, which states that the way that you choose to group your addends together will not change the sum either, and that is typically meant for problems in which you're adding more than two numbers together. Just to remind you that even if you have more than two numbers, the way you group them will not change the sum. So we are going to use what we've learned about those two properties and explore how we can use those to help us solve some addition problems in this particular lesson. So as always, I'm going to flip this camera around. I'm going to give you some examples, come back with some closing thoughts, wrap the video up for the day, and then you guys are all set. So I will see you in just a second. Okay, here we have our first example. We are going to be adding three addends together. We have 23 plus 38 plus 42. Now in this first example, I am not specifically going to use the commutative property or the associative property. What I'm going to do in this example is I'm going to first look to see, can I create a 10 anywhere in my addends, because I love working with tens. Tens are so nice and easy and clean to work with. So when I look at my ones place, because I'm always going to start in the place value position that is furthest to my right. So when I look at my ones place, I can immediately see that if I take 8 and 2 and I add them together, that's going to give me a 10. That knocked out two numbers in that place value position very quickly. So now all I have to do is say, okay, I have a 10 here plus the 3 there, which tells me the sum for the ones place is going to be 13. So I have 1 10 and 3 ones. So I'm going to bring down my 3 ones and I'm going to regroup the 1 10 in the tens place. So now I'm going to move on to the tens place and I'm going to do the same thing. Is there a way for me to create a 10? Now when you first look at this, you may say, no, there's no way for you to create a 10 there. But if you look closely, there is a way for you to create a 10 if you are creative. I can do 2 and 3, which is going to give me 5. And then I should see there's a 4 and that regrouped 10 there, and that is going to be another 5. And those two 5s added together, let me make a better addition sign. Those two 5s added together is going to give you a 10. And so since there's not another place value position to add, I can go ahead and bring down that 10 right there. And I've that quickly solved 23 plus 38 plus 42. My sum for that would be 103. So it's always a good idea to look in your place value positions, check to see, can you make some 10s, and then go from there. All right, here is another example with 3 addends. We're going to be adding 36 plus 37 plus 51. Again, not yet am I going to use the associative property or the commutative property. But I am going to look to see, can I create a 10 in my ones place? And the answer to that is no. I can't find any way to make a 10 out of those 3 digits that are in that place value position. But what I can do is tell myself, well, it's easy to add 1 to a number. So perhaps what I'll do is I will just focus on adding these two numbers together right now, because adding 1 to a number is pretty easy and 3 plus 5 is pretty easy. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do 7 plus 1, which is 8. And then I'm going to look at 3 plus 5, and that's also 8. So right now, what I have is called a partial sum. This is a part of the answer for 36 plus 37 plus 51. Now I need to realize, okay, I only added those two numbers together. So this is just the sum to those two numbers. So I'm going to take this partial sum, and I'm going to add 36 to it, which is going to be a little bit easier. So off to the side, I'm going to do 36. Give myself some room, plus 88, which was my partial sum from the first part of this problem. Now, this is just easier because there's only 2 numbers for me to deal with as opposed to 3 numbers. I know that 8 plus 6 is going to give me 14. So I'm going to bring down the 4 ones from the number 14. I'm going to regroup the 110 from the number 14. And then I'm going to look at the tens place. I know that 8 plus 3 is going to be 11, plus another one is going to be 12. So the sum of 36 plus 37 plus 51 is going to be 124. Now, the next example, we are going to specifically use the commutative property so that we can see how using that property will make adding your numbers a little bit easier. All right, here we have 4 addends, 11 plus 16 plus 19 plus 14. Now, the first thing that I want to do is I want to rearrange this so these addends are listed vertically instead of horizontally. Right now, they're horizontal, they're going across, but I want them to be vertically because it's easier for me to see things when they are going in that direction. So I'm going to rewrite it as 11 plus 16 plus 19 plus 14, like that. And actually, I'm going to erase the whole thing so that you guys can see it. Pardon me. 11 plus 16 plus 19 plus 14. Okay, that's better for my mind to look at. So what do I want to do first is I'm going to just rearrange these numbers because I want to see if by rearranging them I can create some tens. And I can already kind of see my tens popping out at me. So first I'm going to take 11. And instead of making 16 next, I'm going to make 19 because that's going to create a 10 right there. Then I'm going to put 16 and then 14. Now by doing that, I haven't changed the numbers, I've just changed the order. And by doing that, I created a 10 here and a 10 there. And I know that 10 plus another 10 is going to give me 20. So I'm going to bring down the 0 ones that I have in 20 and regroup the 2 10s that I have in 20. This is super easy. I'm just adding a series of 1s, then a 2. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, and 4 plus 2 is 6. So this tells me that the sum of 11 plus 16 plus 19 plus 14 is going to be 60, even though I changed the order using the commutative property and wrote it as 11 plus 19 plus 16 plus 14 because I wanted to create those tens. So that example is a specific way that you could use the commutative property to make the addition a little bit easier for your mind. And then the next example we're going to do is going to involve the associative property, where we're going to look at how changing the grouping of our addends can help us out. All right, here we have 17 plus 33 plus 45, and we are going to use the associative property, which means we're going to change the grouping. Right now, as the problem is presented, the numbers 33 and 45 are being grouped together, meaning that these are the numbers that you're supposed to add first. But when I look at it, I know that if I switch the grouping of my addends, I can create a 10 very easily. Does anybody know what I can do to create a 10 in that group together? If you are thinking the way that I'm thinking, you're going to say, well, you know what? How about we group 17 plus 33 together and then add the 45 separately. Now, what I like about doing that is if I rewrite this problem vertically, and I will do that right up here, so I'm going to write it vertically. I had 17 plus 33 grouped together, and then I had my 45. Okay, so I regrouped it so these are together. There's a nice 10. And I can just take 10 plus 5. That's super easy. That's going to be 15. So I'm going to put down my 5 ones from the number 15. I'm going to regroup the 110 from the number 15. And then I'm going to add my tens place. So I have 1 plus 3, which is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Plus the one that I regrouped up there is 9. So that tells me that the sum of 17 plus 33 plus 45 is going to be 95. And that was much easier for my mind to work with when I switched the grouping and had 17 plus 33 together in my parentheses in the very beginning. 3 examples that I have for you guys today. You just remember that you are in charge of the numbers. You get to regroup them any way that you want, and you're always, always, always checking to see, can you create a 10? Because once you found those 10s, the rest just becomes a little bit easier. So I'm going to flip the camera around, give you guys my closing thoughts, and then you'll be done for the day. All right, so those were your examples of adding numbers together, either using the commutative property of addition or the associative property of addition. Basically, what you want to do when you're changing the order of your addends is you're looking for ways to maybe create 10s so that your mind can add those numbers a little bit more efficiently, or you may just switch the order because for whatever reason, the numbers in a different order is easier for your mind to work with. You just want to make sure that you understand that switching the order or switching the grouping is not going to change the sum that you get, as long as you're very careful when you're actually going through the steps of adding those numbers together. So again, it's all about efficiency, all about making you more comfortable as you work through these math problems and as you persevere through these math problems. And as long as you are comfortable with your strategies and comfortable with your addition abilities, then you should be good. So that is all that I have for this lesson today. If you found the video, please give the video a thumbs up, and I would really appreciate it. And I will make sure to see everybody in the next one. Bye, everybody.